McDonald's thick shape.
Yes.
Well, you can get these beef burgers with a little green thing in them, right? But they brought out this new thing called a fluffy burger.
A fluffy burger?
A fluffy, bushy burger.
I see.
And they just suit you well, Alan.
I'm sure they would, yes. Feed your dog.
Holly.
Go on.
Holly and Banks bought one the other day, and he put about 4 stone on. He just looked like you.
Yes, well, that's a great treat for him.
Got a face like a melted.
Face like a melted welly is very old and stolen. You're not allowed to steal jokes and use them on this programme. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about something that I read at Evening Post the other night. I'm at Forces myself, and I read the other day up in a pub in Lancaster, a CS gas canister was set off. As you know, you've been at Forces yourself, like you mentioned it before. Things like that, you don't get hold of easily.
Is that it?
No, you don't get hold of easily. Where do you get them from? I mean, where do people like that get them from?
I've no idea, but these things have a way of finding themselves in wrong hands, don't they?
I mean, as you know, there's only police and forces use CS gas, right?
Theoretically, that is the only place from where it is available.
Yeah. So, like, the pilots are setting it off, or either forces or police?
Not necessarily. They could have obtained it via nefarious means, criminal means, or even bought it in a pub.
I've got one last question to ask you. You always said that you was in the army.
Yes.
What regiment was you?
I never answer that question.
Right. I want to ask you something else as well. Why do you always get socialists on your programme?
I don't only get socialists on my
Why
programme.
do you always get socialists?
I don't always. Are you a socialist?
No.
You're on the programme?
Yep.
That defeats your question, surely.
Right.
Now is part of always, and you're not a socialist.
Nope.
And you are on the programme.
Yep.
So the suggestion that I always get socialists on the programme is, by the very nature of the person making that suggestion, unfounded. Isn't it?
Yep.
Thank you.
Have a good New Year.
Sure I will. How do, Carol?
Hello, I've just rang up about CDs. Don't put phone down again on me.
Why not?
Because why are they too ridiculous, are they?
I've no idea why it's a ridiculous hobby. I find it totally and utterly banal. The reason I put the phone down on you is if you're listening to the CB, you can't listen to me.
No, I wasn't.
You may have to. I asked you, were you? You replied yes.
No, I thought you said, am I listening to you?
And, well, fine, go on then.
Well, I don't think it's ridiculous, you see.
Fine.
I just wanted to know why you thought it was ridiculous.
Because I just think it is. The way a lot of people talk on CB, using all that ludicrous language, I find stupid.
And you don't use language, do you not?
That ludicrous language, the terminology they use, the 10-4 and flying town. I'm sorry?
My mate said you sweat in bed.
That's very kind of you, mate, to make such a...
You can hear him. She said her handle's shy girl and you sweat in bed.
Her handle... What's her handle?
Her handle's shy girl and mine is...
No, what is a handle?
Her angle is shy girl.
No, what is a handle? I thought a handle was something you carried a case with, or a spoon, or a knife. You see, that's the point I'm making, isn't it, Carol? You have this language of your own. You can shove it for me. How do, David?
Hi, Alan. You were talking about the Laurel and Hardy Museum earlier on.
Yes, I've never been, sadly.
Oh, it's really good, actually.
Someone
anyway,
said.
you talked about the councillor in charge of it.
I did what?
You talked about the councillors in charge of it.
A councillor started it, yes, and I said that anything run by a councillor can't be all good.
Yeah, anyway, he's the mayor now.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's a nice fella, actually.
Yeah, I know, I've met him, he's a good friend of mine.
He came down here to be interviewed by somebody, and I met him. He's a nice guy.
Bill Cuban.
That's it, Bill Cuban. He's all right, he's a nice guy, but he's a councillor, so he's a politician. So
yeah, I remember the Sons of the Desert, the Laurel and Hardy thing. Is the same
You're
thing.
not right, you?
I am.
You're a barn pot, then.
I'm the one who sang those Laurel and Hardy songs.
Are you? That was you, was it?
Yeah.
Then that proves you're a barn pot. Good night.
You know what he's done?
What's he done?
He's bought a double-decker bus to travel Europe in.
Who has?
Bill Cuban.
Has he?
Yeah.
Why are you telling me this?
Oh, I thought you...
Is it going to be a museum?
What?
Is it going to be a museum bus?
Sort of, I think so.
Sounds fun. I wish him luck.
I know, and there's Do you know what? Every year they have a convention.
I know they do. And it's in Blackpool next year.
Yeah, I know, I'm going.
Good.
Are you going to go?
No.
Oh, go on.
No.
Go on.
No.
Why not?
Why should I?
It's good fun.
Good. Enjoy yourself.
You like Laurel and Hardy?
They're all right.
They're good.
Fine.
Honest.
Well, you asked me what I thought. I told you. You can't tell me what I think.
This year's convention was in Edinburgh.
Sorry?
This year's convention was in Edinburgh.
Really?
And the year before that it was in Ulverston.
Well, this is all very, very interesting.
Yeah, and next year, it's, as well as being in Morecambe, it's also in Philadelphia,
Well, yippee.
in America.
Well, I know where Philadelphia is.
And I've got
That's
lots
where
of
the
friends
cheese comes from.
And there's thousands of people in America who are members as well.
Yes, we're all very good to them.
I've got lots of very good friends over there.
Well, please, why don't you go and talk to them? Is that it now?
No, I've got lots more.
Oh, tough really, isn't it? Because you're going.
Go
Ta-ra.
on. Nice.
Say ta-ra.
Bye.
How do, Lynn?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I'm just phoning up to say I feel it's a shame that on your news summary tonight that Bob Geldof was on, and well, he wasn't actually on, but they said that he couldn't have an award.
Yes, he's not a member of our nation, you see. He's Irish.
Yeah, no, he's Irish, but I thought with Mrs. Thatcher and the Irish government getting it together, I thought maybe it would have been nice for them to give him something for...
It would have been nice, I suppose, but quite honestly, I don't know the man, but I'm sure he's not even interested.
Do you think so, yeah?
I think he's too decent a bloke for that. I think he'd tell him to push off with it.
Well, I said that to my husband, so I'm very grateful you said that. You won an argument with me.
Anyway, you can't have one, because he's Irish. I don't know what that means. He lives in this country, he pays tax over here. It seems to me it'd be fair enough if he could. But nonetheless, I don't suppose he'd want one.
Well, thanks for winning my argument.
Ta-ra.
Good night and all the best.
And yourself. How do, Steve?
Hello, Alan.
Yeah.
I'm phoning up. I have a couple of problems each year on the motorist. Do you drive?
Yeah.
Oh, you drive. Do you notice every time it snows, you know, if the car forms big ruts in the road and all that, you notice when you're going down the road in a pedestrian area with roads of shops and that, people who seem to walk in the ruts is one problem. Then when they're walking in the ruts, they expect you to steer out the way and all that sort of thing. But you've only got about 25% control, haven't you? Do you understand what I mean?
You have got limited control, but you can increase your degree of control by slowing down.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, that. And another thing I was wondering as well, you know, all the time when you get a flat battery and you don't want one first thing in the morning. And you know, if you take the batteries in at night, you charge them up, you take them out to the car, then connect them up. They always work the car, don't they? You know, when they're freshly, come off the charger and they're warm.
I've no idea. My car's a new car. I don't have that problem.
Oh, well, if you've got a warm battery on your car, the car will start in the morning.
Very good.
Yeah, and I was wondering if you've got something like a big spanner or something, you put over the two terminals and heated the battery up for a few seconds.
That'd be the answer, yes.
Would that warm it?
Yeah, that would be wonderful, yes. That's a very sensible suggestion, Steve. And if you actually had one end of the spanner in your mouth at the same time, you could probably improve your mentality.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Well,
Hey, let's face it, if you chopped your head off, you'd improve your mentality. How do to Trev?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to know if you can help me about getting access, to my child. The thing is, I'm on pretty decent terms with my ex-girlfriend, right? And she had my son. But the thing is, she's only agreeing to let me see him in her own house because, I think she's jealous, of me, my girlfriend where I've living with at the moment, and she won't let me, bring my child, out of her house, Is there any way I can make it so I can do?
Well, Trevor, you talk about the child and its mother saying your ex-girlfriend. The implication of that is that you weren't married, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Then your rights as the father of an illegitimate child are very, very limited indeed.
Yeah.
And all I can suggest is, got nothing to do with court action, but continue to see the child in the way laid down by your ex-girlfriend, and maybe in time she will relax her restrictions.
Yeah, Alan, but the point is, right, she took me to court, you know, for maintenance.
Yes.
Right, and, like, in the court, you know, they asked her, like, does the father have access, you know, to the child?
Yes.
Which, she said, yeah.
Well, you do.
But, you know, she didn't put to them, you know, like, her view of access.
Well,
really.
presumably you were at court at the time, or your representative was at court at the time.
Yeah.
Why did your representative not put the limitations of that access to the court?
Yeah, but he told me, right, that the things like that really are better sorted out of court, really.
It's all better sorted out of court. Why bother going to court in the first place? Why did you not agree at maintenance for the child?
Yeah, but, she really didn't tell me at first, because, like, when we first split up, you know, it was on terms...
But at some stage, your ex-girlfriend told you that she'd had your child. Why didn't you then immediately say, oh, well, in that case, I owe you some money?
Yeah, but... The thing
Why
is,
didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Answer the question. You wanted to. Why didn't you?
Yeah, but the thing was, right, when we first split up, we weren't on terms, you know, like, speaking terms at all, and, she wouldn't let me see him. And then, one day, like...
So are you telling me, Trev, that your girlfriend didn't let you see the child because you wouldn't pay maintenance?
No, she won't let me see him, because...
And so you didn't
She's just
pay
been
maintenance?
awkward, like, to get at me.
The old story, Trev, is being repeated 1,000 times every day, and that is, children are far too often used as weapons.
Well,
they're not children at all. They are little hand grenades.
Well, to me, I think you're right there, Alan, you know what I mean?
I am right, but always...
When she says, right, like, you can see him, I'm always there, like, when she says. But, like, to me, she's just getting at me, by not letting me take him out. Like,
fine, all I can say, Trev, is if you go back to your solicitor and say to him or her that you have failed to come to some agreement with your ex-girlfriend, with the child's mother, about access, and could he please take it back to court. But do be prepared for him to say your rights are extremely limited.
Who's going to say that, the magistrate?
I think your solicitor will advise you that in the first instance.
Yeah. Alan, do you know that show you did at Markham?
Yes.
Us Wiganers come for to see you. Do you remember when I said we was going to come up for to see you?
Yes.
And I like what I said, but we weren't so pleased, really, but, where we got pulled down, like, with what was on Sporting.
Incognito.
I was belt, them was. Yeah, couldn't speak me, I was speechless.
Well, incognito, Dave Dutton used to live in Lee.
Yeah.
And people from Lee and around that area, and people from Wigan, are always having arguments, and I think it was meant in fun.
I thought you might say something about them Wiganers are coming down, so I'll give them a bit of steak.
Certainly not. He does it all the time, Dutton.
I know, I couldn't stick it, me.
Never mind. Well, we're doing it again in February, but it's nearer to home this time. We're doing it on the 15th of February, the Saturday, at King George's Hall in Blackburn. Tickets are £3.50 and they're on sale now.
Well, cheaper than that, anyway.
Cheaper, that's right.
Anyway,
Cheap. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, come again.
Yeah, I will.
Cheers. And I'll tell Incognito not to do Wigan jokes. But if they do Wellington jokes, I'll snap their legs. Ta-ra. Pie eaters strike back.
Take your scrap to CSM, Preston's top scrap metal men. They pay a better price, so this is our advice. Go to CSM.
Turn your scrap metal into cash. Best prices 6 days a week at Carlton Street Metals off Fylde Road, Preston. Phone 729949.
Go to CSM. CSM. A far, far better furniture store.
Edmondson's of Blackburn, a far, far better furniture store. For lounge, dining room and bedroom furniture, for famous names in quality carpets, for all home furnishings. Edmondson's offers choice. Edmondson's gives first-class service, and Edmondson's guarantees value for money. All round a far, far better furniture store at Darwin Street, Blackburn.
A far, far better furniture store. Edmondson's.
How do, David?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to say thanks very much for the suggestion you made to me regarding getting my mother-in-law out of my house the other night.
Go on.
Well, I did what you suggested. I grasped her by the nettles and ordered her out. She didn't go, but I ended up spending a blissful night in the police cells. Anyway, Alan, about 3/4 of an hour ago, she came down from her room, bags packed. She's ordered a taxi to take her to Red Rose Radio, yeah? And she said that she was going to stay with Allan Beswick, and I've given her a modest cheque made out to you, and I hope you and her are very happy together. She'll be waiting in the park, please.
She's no good to me if her nettles are gone.
Anyway, what I'll do, Alan, I'll give you a ring tomorrow night and see how you get on with it.
Well, I won't answer. I'll not be here. I'm not on tomorrow night.
Oh, of course, but...
We're having a New Year party or something.
Look at it from this point of view, you're going to have 2 or 3 days of it, at least.
I look forward to it, David. Ta-da!
Ta-da, Alan.
I hope she can run like mad, because I'll be out that car park like a rocket. How do, Peter?
How do, Alan? How do I follow that? It's your socialist friends that keep coming on. I feel it's a great pity that these poor buggers can't actually go to Russia or East Germany like I have and actually see how the people live. I really honestly believe that if they were able to get out there and see how the people live and find out how the people think, I think we'd have a lot more conservatives in this country.
Well, the problem is, Peter, that you're equating socialism with the extreme capitalism of Russia. And they're not the same. Russia, in my view, is the most capitalist country in the world.
Well, I don't think the average Russian citizen or the average East German citizen would quite agree with you, Alan.
Indeed. The reason they won't is because they are kept down by the powers that be on a greater scale than exists in this country. Yes. In other words, they are more down the line of limited numbers controlling maximum people than we are. In this country of Britain, I think it's, hang on, I'll try and remember the figures, 76% of the wealth is owned by 9% of the population.
Right.
In Russia, 90% of the wealth is owned by 2% of the population.
Indeed.
So they are more capitalist than we are, not less capitalist. So going to live in Russia won't satisfy a socialist, might satisfy a Tory, providing they're amongst the 2%.
No, the point being, of course, that, as you well know, is that the teachings of the likes of Scargill and Mr. Hatton and these sort of people, a lot of the uninitiated listen to these people, and they are in fact teaching or preaching socialism. The eventual aim, of course, is to become a satellite of Mother Russia and so on.
Well, you may think that, and you're entitled to think that in the freedom of this country. But allow me to tell you that any Prime Minister that gives a gong to her PR man is not worth a light.
Well, I couldn't agree more with you.
Right, so don't come on here knocking the socialists when the leader of the Tories gives gongs out to people that can get them a few more votes. That stinks.
Believe me,
that is repulsive.
I am not a Tory, believe me.
I'm glad to hear it.
I do feel that these people who come on and they preach, it's like a machine turning out these speeches that, quite honestly, it's a load of rubbish, really. When they see these, they actually...
It depends on what you mean. What have you heard tonight from an erstwhile socialist statement that you think is a load of rubbish?
Right? They're looking for the utopia.
Yeah, well, okay, aren't we all? Aren't we all? Tell me what socialist statement, what socialist ethos you think is wrong.
Well, generally speaking, right, the better life...
Well, don't speak generally. Don't speak generally. Tell me a specific. Right. Tell me a socialist belief that you think is wrong.
Right, equal wages and this sort of thing.
I don't think that the socialist parties of this country believe that. Mr. Hatton clearly doesn't.
I'm sure they
don't. Mr. Scargill clearly doesn't. He had a massive strike trying to get his men back at the top of the wages pile. So first of all, the two people you quote as being socialists of the type you dislike aren't perpetrating or even advocating the policies that you are against. So you're talking nonsense.
No, I'm not.
Of course you are.
No,
You say that one of the things you don't like about socialism is the demand for equal pay. There's no such demand.
Excuse me, I didn't say that. What I did say was that these poor people who are coming on your program and they are talking about equal pay and this sort of thing, equal this, equal that,
better
I
opportunities.
haven't heard anybody arguing for equal pay, to be honest.
Intimating.
Well, let us not deal with something that's been intimated, because we can argue all night as to whether your interpretation of a statement is an acceptable one. Give me one statement that's been made in the past month on this programme, one positive socialist demand that you object to. Just one.
No, it's not a question of...
Oh, come on, it's got to be a question of that. It's no good talking in airy-fairy terms. Let's talk about specifics.
I'm not objecting to specific statements. What I'm objecting to, and have sympathy for rather than objecting, is the inference that there is a better life, and the inference being...
Peter, are you suggesting there isn't a better way than this?
Oh, there has to be a better way.
Well, just a moment. You've just objected to the inference that there's a better way.
No, there has to be a better way. There is no such thing as utopia, but there has to be a better way.
Excellent. Well, I agree. There has to be a better way.
But the inference of all these people is that they are catching on to the catchphrases of these.
Well, Peter, you have yet to give me one original thought, so don't criticise people for using the jargon of media leaders. Tell me what you've got to say. What do you say? You are criticising them.
I sympathise with them.
Oh, that's the same thing. Don't be so damn patronising.
It isn't.
Well, you may not see it as such, but I'm sure they're not sitting at home thinking, thank you very much, Peter, for your freedom.
The point is, what I'm trying to get over is that if people think that there is a better life behind the Iron Curtain, for whatever reason...
But not many people do think that.
There are a lot.
There aren't a lot. That is you putting that thought there. Nobody has come on this programme tonight, or that I can recall in recent months, saying, why don't we adopt the Russian way? They haven't said that at all.
They haven't said it specifically.
And you think they have. Perhaps it's your paranoia, rather than their ability.
It's my concern for society as we have society.
Well, Peter, what would you like to see?
What would I like to see? I think I'd like to see the FDP in power and give them...
Oh, good God, yeah, we can toss a coin about whether we make laws or not. Go away.
Well.
It's no good just saying give them a chance. Give them a chance to do what? The SDP thrives on the party system, the very system that they criticise. They criticise confrontation politics. The only way they are in existence is as a direct result of confrontation politics. The problem is, and it's a massive problem, they cannot agree on anything. They can't agree on anything.
And I'm not a member of the party, but this is the reason why they're in favour of coalition, surely.
Of course they're in favour of coalition, but what coalition works? It works during the war, when the whole country is thinking in the same direction. They have a common enemy that they wish to defeat. But you cannot market that policy now in peacetime.
According to John Cleese, it works very well in Europe, doesn't it?
Well, John Cleese? That's it? The quotations of John Cleese, and you want to run a blessed government off them? I wish you luck. Where does it work in Europe? Where?
Well,
where in Europe does it work?
It works in West Germany, it works in Belgium, it works in parts of Scandinavia. I think it's Denmark, it works in Denmark. It's coming to France shortly. This is all down to proportional representation.
Proportional representation, yes. Coalition was the term you used.
Well, coalition, proportional representation, according to the last...
Proportional representation isn't coalition.
Would bring us a coalition government, according to the last...
Well, I don't know who in the name of heaven has told you that. Proportional representation will bring us, hopefully, a representative government, and that representative government would be made up of many different parties. But if one party didn't have an overall majority, then we would have political chaos.
Well, we would have coalition.
We have a situation... Do you know what coalition is?
Yes.
Great. It is the removal of all opposition.
Well, it's also the compromise between opposition.
What you have to remember is that the only way compromise can work is by everybody being dissatisfied. That's compromise, isn't it? Everybody dissatisfied. If you want a system where everybody is dissatisfied, then you're on your own, because I don't. I want to be satisfied. I want a system where I am happy. I want a system where I'm content. I want a system where I can trust the people at the top to stand by what they believe in, not to renege for political gain.
Right.
Because we've got enough of that already.
I'll bow to your wisdom. Can I ask you a question on a lighter note?
Feel free.
Is that too much? It's quite obvious. I live on the Merseyside. It's quite obvious that you become a sort of cult figure in this area. What do you attribute the fame to?
I always say that the word cult, when applied to me, is just very badly spelt, and I'll leave you to work that one out. Good night.
Good night.
How do, Chris?
Hello?
Hello? In the fog? Hello, Chris. Oh, I see, it's a song. Never mind, we'll have an ad instead.
Broadbent and Boothroyd's great sale is on now. Amazing price cuts. See for yourself. Broadbent and Boothroyd's of Southport. Great sale on now.
Hello, Pete Reeves here. Last Christmas, and indeed every Christmas, people are injured, seriously injured, or even killed in Lancashire as a result of drinking and driving. Not only have motorists who've been drinking become casualties, but also innocent people. Other drivers, riders and pedestrians have been injured or have lost their life, leaving children parentless and parents childless. So this year, if you think you can drink and drive, think again. Think of others, not yourself. Please help to keep death and injury off the roads of Lancashire this Christmas. Don't drink and drive.
This message was brought to you by Lancashire County Council Road Safety Section, caring for your safety at all times.
Choose Cresta.
The Cresta Furniture January sale is now on. 5-door mirror wardrobes only £275, or 5-door polyester wardrobes from £199, with 2 bedside cabinets absolutely free on orders over £300 on selected models. Also superb quality kitchens in solid oak or laminate at half price. All at Cresta Furniture, opposite MFI and Ribbleton Lane, Preston. Phone Preston 709 638.
Choose Cresta. Allan Beswick.
That's me, and I'm talking to Michelle. Or I would have been. Is it line 3? No, it's Thomas. How do? We're all mixed up. Who's on line 4 then, Alice? And we'll know where we are from there. Hey, we've gotten Thomas at last. Hello, Thomas.
Good morning, Alan. I'd just like to pass a comment to you about this Liverpool sentence in the courts in Belgium today. I'd just like to say that I don't think the sentence was really a deterrent of any sort at all. It should have been much more severe than what it was. The fact that he hit this chap with an iron bar, if he'd been tried in this country, they're saying he'd have had a lighter sentence. I think he'd have had a damn sight heavier sentence.
There is a fairly strong body of opinion, or a large body of opinion, that says if it had been tried in this country, it would have been found not guilty.
Well, Alan, the mere fact is that he was there, and there was witnesses there to say that he used this iron bar. I mean, in this country, he would have been tried for attempted murder, I think, the way it was going, you know.
Well, it's irrelevant to a large extent what it'd be tried for. There is a strong body of opinion, and some of them lawyers, that say if it had been tried in this country, it'd have been found not guilty. So if you try him for anything, it doesn't matter if he's found not guilty.
Yes, but the mere fact that he was there by his own admittance, that he was in amongst all the squabbles, Alan.
I'm sorry. Let us deal with the problem separately, because you're the one that has said if he was in this country, it'd have got longer. Well, he wouldn't, on the say-so of certain lawyers, who've said in actual fact that if he was tried in this country, he would have been set free. Now, the fact that he was there is irrelevant in that particular argument. Under Belgian law, he is guilty. End of story. He was given a punishment to fit the crime according to the Belgians and the Belgian law. Now, if you wanted him tried under the British judicial system, there is a strong body of legal opinion that says there was insufficient evidence to convict, in which case he'd have walked free. So on that basis, comparison with British judicial system, the guy got a severe sentence because he got sentenced for something that had been found not guilty of in this country.
Oh, that's fair enough, Alan, on comparing the systems.
But that was what you did do.
I appreciate now. But I still think myself that the sentence, he was a very lucky chap, really, to have got up with what he did get away with.
On the basis of the conviction, I also think the sentence was trivial. I think, given the conviction, he should have got at least 10 years. However, I would like to have faith in the conviction. Now, I've got no right or desire to criticise the Belgian judicial system without some knowledge of it. And so I will merely say that if the conviction itself was fair, then the sentence wasn't.
That's fair enough, Alan. But I have dealt in the English court, or in the Welsh courts I've dealt actually for 20-odd years. And
Well, the Welsh courts are the same as the English, aren't they?
And I will say this, the British court system is a very, very fair system. And I don't know the Belgian one actually, but I do really think that had he been tried in this country, he would not have got away with it. That's in my experience anyway.
Well, we've got a problem there, because the term "got away with it" has the implication that he did it. Now, okay, in your experience, you say he wouldn't have done. The British lawyers, certainly there's a body of British legal opinion that says he would have done. He would have been found not guilty. That isn't getting away with it. That is a legal decision that he didn't do it. However, I do understand the point you're making.
Right, thank you, Alan.
Okay, cheers.
Goodbye.
Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.
How do, Mark?
How do there? I heard earlier on a statement about vol-au-vents from Marks and Spencer's making people sick. And to quote you, you said that you thought vol-au-vents were sick.
They are. They're just little puff pastry with sick in them.
Well, I really think, as a chef, I think that's a detriment to my trade.
Is it? Well, you deserve shooting for serving little bags of sick to people. Never mind laughing. It's no laughing matter. I've seen them. They're just bags of sick.
Don't shout me down, Alan. At this time of year, chefs spend a lot of time cooking for a lot of people.
I know they do.
They do not put sick in vol-au-vents.
Gosh, they do. I've seen it.
Just because you don't like vol-au-vents.
It isn't a case of I don't like them. You've only got to have one look at it, and it looks like a little puff pastry, and there's an unfortunate term, a little puff pastry full of sick.
You just don't appreciate decent food. I'm quite sorry.
But it's not a case of I don't appreciate decent food.
Could you hear me out, please?
Go on.
I would be quite happy to make you half a dozen or a dozen decent vol-au-vents.
No way.
There's no chance.
No way am I going to eat little puff pastry biscuits with sick on.
As a qualified chef, I think you're well out of order, and I speak for all the chefs over the land. Thank you, and good night.
Good night, Mark. How do to Gary?
Hello.
Hello, Gary.
Hello. I'd just like to say that you had a young lady on earlier this evening who was saying that Radio 1 was calling Bob Geldof.
Aye.
Now, I'm a long-distance lorry driver, so I get a lot of chance to hear Radio 1, and I've never heard them once call Bob Geldof.
Have you not? Well, I'm glad to hear it.
And there's also, there's been people like Simon Bates who's gone over there, but you see, and gone over there to see, where the actual Band-Aid money's going, and yet you agreed with the lady.
I didn't agree they were criticising them. I said if they are doing, they're disgraceful, and I then went on to say that as far as I'm concerned, Radio 1 is a bucket of rubbish.
No, when she said to me when she said to you that there was complaining, you agreed with her.
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, I stand corrected then if you didn't.
I didn't. I cannot agree with her. I don't listen to Radio 1 enough to find that out. I very occasionally, when decorating, listen to Steve Wright, and that's it.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing then if you don't listen to Simon Bates.
Well, first of all, I do. I have listened to it, and I find it boring. The problem is, you see, that I've not a lot of time for DJs. It sounds funny, that, really, in my job.
Does a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I don't like pop music. And I don't like all this. And coming up now is number 16 in the big top 20. What a load of dross.
Oh, that is. I'll agree with you there.
Well, you get that all the time on Radio 1.
No, not with Simon Bates, you don't.
I see. Well, you carry on listening to Simon. Is he the one that thinks he's Cliff Richard?
No.
I think he is. Is he? Is he? Alice will know. Alice doesn't listen to it either. Far too intelligent. I think he's the one that thinks he's Cliff Richard.
Oh, you got me on that one, Alan.
Aye, well, there you go, you see.
That's it. Anyhow, have a good New Year.
I'll try to. How do, Anthony?
Hello, Alan.
Yeah.
I'd like to speak about the lad that was on earlier on.
Well, which one? You'll have to be a bit more specific than that.
He was talking about the intoxicator meter.
Oh, yeah, blowing it in the car, yeah, smart.
I thought it was a really good idea.
Did you? But what about the point that Liz, I think it was, made about you could get your pal to blow in it?
Yeah, that's what I was upset about. I think if people like that can make comments like that on your show, then there's something wrong with their mind, because the amount of deaths and on the roads and whatever, I think...
Excuse me a minute, Anthony. I do appreciate the point that you're making. I think you're a little misguided. People do make those comments because that is the kind of thing that people will do. You're saying that if we put an intoximeter in the car, it'd be a great idea. It wouldn't be a great idea at all, because the people who are currently putting everybody else's life at risk just for their disgusting pleasure aren't going to stop doing so. They're just going to find another way round it.
Yeah, but I think if someone took it up further, someone that maybe was listening, that had a lot to do with cars, I think someday, eventually, they're gonna find an idea.
I've got an idea that will cut down drunken driving virtually overnight. Dead easy. I don't know why we're bothered by it. I don't know why we don't just get on and do it. There's no problem at all. And that is random breath tests. And anybody found with a positive breath test and eventually a positive blood sample should go to prison for a first offence for a minimum of 5 years. No question, no hesitation. You're over the limit. You've got the blood, into court, out the court, prison. 5 years.
I agree with that.
No remission, no nothing. 5 years, full stop. Next time, 10 years.
Yeah,
Next time, life.
I do agree with that. But there was an idea
That's the answer. Go on, give us your idea.
I thought an idea was where you put the intoximeter on the seatbelt. It's connected to the seatbelt, so as whereas if you'd had something to drink, that once you'd locked yourself in, that you couldn't get out afterwards.
That's a great idea, isn't it? So you get in the car catches fire because you're a bit drunk, and you're strapped there burning to death. Smart.
You shouldn't be drunk. You shouldn't be driving.
Well, no, you shouldn't be driving.
But, I mean,
that's no reason to burn them to death.
I'm not very good at
Anthony, I honestly don't think I should have the cost of a car. I appreciate that mine's supplied by Bradshaw's, so I don't have to pay for it. But I honestly don't think that everybody that, and that is the majority even these days, that doesn't drink more than the limit and drive, should pay for those evil dogs that do. The easiest way is to commit those people to prison. We don't need inventions. All we need is a government with the guts to act. The reason the government won't act is because an awful lot of MPs get done for drunk driving. An awful lot of MPs are driving about with Claret swilling about in their guts. They are as bad, if not worse, than anyone else. Did you know that the House of Commons bar never closes?
It's open 24 hours a day.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know
that. Doesn't happen anywhere else, does it? Just those drunken, gut-swilling swine of MPs. That's why we've not got strong legislation, because too many MPs would be in prison.
It's a shame, though, isn't it? You know,
it is a shame. We shouldn't elect drunks, but it seems that we do.
Yeah. Well, you've said it all now. Right.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
How do, Vic?
Hello, Alan.
Yep.
I think that that fella, that Scouser who got that sentence, I think it was too late. But the thing is that I see is that I think that it's wrong. I think he should have got a heavier sentence. But I think that at least they had the decency to say, you know, if he wanted to do some damage to someone, at least they'd done it, you know, albeit he had a bar, you know, at least they'd done it face-to-face. People who use beagles to get foxes, well, if they want to, inflict the cruelty on the foxes, they should do it themselves. You know what I mean? And I think they should get more...
I see. Well... Yes, I understand your point. I think it's a little, at best, misguided, but nonetheless, I do understand it. Thank you very much, Vic. Cheers.
Alan?
You're all right if you do it face-to-face, it would seem, in Vic's eyes, anyway.
The Belle Cuisine Kitchen Sale starts this Thursday, January the 2nd, with free fitting, free appliances, and half-price kitchens all available. For the kitchen deal of a lifetime, it must be Belle Cuisine.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked by the general public at large to warn you that Ian Lonsdale's on next. How do, John?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, is it true you used to work for the CAB?
Yes.
For the England people, it's the Citizens Advice Bureau, isn't it?
Well, it's the Citizens Advice Bureau for the clever ones as well.
Yeah.
Go on.
Right. We done a job on a plasterer. Now, not by trade. I'm not a 714, which is only a tax exemption, isn't it?
Sorry?
714 certificate plasterer.
No, I don't really know, but I'll accept that. Go on.
A 714 certificate is a tax exemption, right? So anyway.
Oh, I see. You're not, what's it called, subcontracted?
No.
Right.
So, we advertised, I better not say where, but we advertised, right? Now, as a rule with our taxes, we advertised as our taxes, but as we were in the area to this said bloke, he phoned us up and said, yeah, well, do you do plaster work? Which we do. So we said, yeah. Went round, had a look at the job, give him a price. He had a contractor, he was a plumber and a sort of general repairman there doing his house up. So we said, I give him the price. He heard him whispering to this fella, and he said, fair enough, that's the fair price and all that. So we done the job. Now, after we done the job, which was in I don't know if you know about plastering, but we plastered two full walls right round to a chimney breast in one bedroom. Half a wall had to be sanded and cemented because the render, which is the undercoat of the plaster, had fell away. Anyway, we done 3 walls in one room. We done 1 full wall in the other room. Now, which wasn't really our job, but we did it. We filled in a couple of holes, just quick before we went.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, the bloke he'd been away, so we come back, and he said, I'm not happy with your work. And we said, why? So anyway, we were in the room where we plastered the 3 walls, which were perfect, Opposite was the other room where we plastered the other full wall, and he went through, and he went through to this other room where I'd done literally about a 12-inch round hole. Just, quick, buffed it over it. Fair enough, it was a bit rough around the edges, but he said, do you call that plastering? Then I said, well, fair enough, it's got to be skimmed over. That's what you require, sort of thing. And he said, no, so that's it. So anyway, I've sent him a bill, and I've sent him another letter saying, look, we're going to take action if you don't pay. And again, that's been over about 6 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks. And anyway, I haven't heard nothing since.
Well, sue him then.
We are in our rights to sue him.
You're in your rights to sue him. The court will
and said we advertised as plasterers. We never.
Well, it doesn't matter. You took the job as a plasterer.
Yeah.
Right. So he has the right to rely upon your ability to do the job if you're selling your services as doing the job.
Yeah.
So he can say, look, when I ask you to do plastering, the assumption is that you're able.
Yeah. Which we
he wouldn't have got a gardener in, would he? He got someone in who purported to be able to do it. Whether you advertise that fact or not is irrelevant. So you accepted the contract to do the job.
Yeah.
You therefore have an obligation to do the job properly, and he has the right to rely upon you to do so. Yeah. Now, he's saying the job's not good enough. You're saying it is.
Yeah.
Sue him.
Yeah.
Let the court decide.
So
that's it.
Well,
Sue him.
What's your opinion about, the virtual whole room being done?
It's very difficult for me to pass an opinion on plastering when A, I'm not a plasterer, B, I'm not a building inspector, and C, I haven't damn well seen it.
Right. Well...
But if it's half as good as mine, you don't deserve your money, because I plastered a bit of our bathroom the other day and it's a mess.
We think it's all right.
Well, good. Well, the answer to that is sue him.
Yeah, a plasterer's labourer come in and said it was all right. He said it was perfect.
Well, sue him.
Right.
All right.
In what way? County court?
County court, yeah.
Yeah, it's £13.50, isn't it?
It depends on how much the bill is for.
Yeah. I think it's about 175.
In that case, it'll be £17.50, probably. It's about 10%. There's a minimum, but it's about 10%.
Right, OK, thanks very much.
Ta-ra.
OK, ta-ra.
How do, Barry?
Oh, hi, Sal. The vol-au-vents that are on the news before you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, Mum went out and bought a packet the other day, right? And, I asked 4 of them. They're prawn-flavoured. And,
Thought he was never going to get to it. How do, Norman?
Hello. I wouldn't mind talking about politics with you. You seem to be talking more or less a load of sense, but...
Go on, get on with it.
A little bit of crap here and there.
Well?
Yeah? Well, what do you think you know what socialism is, then?
You said you wanted to talk, not ask questions.
I'm talking, I'm asking questions. Isn't that talking? Are you going to answer?
Yes, I will answer.
Good. Fine,
Yes,
I'm listening.
Yes, it is talking. But I do not answer questions with a view to starting a conversation.
Oh,
if you've
right.
got something
would you like me to ask one then?
I'm sorry?
Would you like me to ask a question?
You can ask 50 questions, it will make no difference. I do not answer questions with a view to starting a conversation. If you have got something to say, then let us hear it.
I should have let you finish. I see where you're coming from now.
I'm not coming from anywhere.
I thought you were coming from Preston.
No, the signal's coming from Preston. I'm staying here for the time being.
Oh, what's that?
Why? Because the money's very...
No, where's that?
Where's Preston?
No.
Where's here?
The signal's
Here
coming
is
from
here.
Preston.
Yes.
But you're here.
I'm
Where's
here. No, not there. Here.
And where's here?
Here, at this moment, is in Studio 1, St Paul's Square, Preston.
Oh, that's what I thought you said.
But I'm not coming. I'm staying. Only the sound comes. I stay here.
Well, that could be a little bit ambiguous. That isn't politics at all, is it?
I've no idea. Ambiguity is the essence of politics, surely.
It is, yeah. Well, I believe that one or two politicians do drink a lot of claret.
I'm sure they do.
Really, what's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with it if they're not driving.
Have you anything against MPs?
Everything against all politicians, just because they're politicians. Because of the system of politics, the very essence of politics. It is about individuals who want power and are prepared to sell their principles short in order to get power. Their motives are usually, in the vast majority of cases of politicians I've met, are usually honourable. Their methods are often disgraceful.
Well, do you not think you're a kind of a politician the way you use your show at night?
I'm an employed individual.
Yeah, well, what is politics? I mean,
I've no idea. Perhaps you'd like to tell me.
What's right and wrong. In my belief, politics is just what's right and wrong.
In that case, we must differentiate between
I think that politics is party politics.
As I about to say, we must differentiate between the professional politician, and I mean that not in an economic sense, but in the sense of someone who considers him or herself to be a politician.
Yes.
Not necessarily a career politician either, but a politician who is interested in the political party structure of this country.
Yeah.
That kind of politician I am wary of. And the other politics, which is the general view of, if you like, people information, those aren't politicians in my view.
Yeah, people like yourself who like to,
if you wish,
understand the truth and not always
not
right.
understand the truth. I'm happy to hear the truth.
Say what they want and stick their neck out to be shot down. That way you learn, don't you?
There is a difference between understanding the truth and being aware of the truth.
Are you both? Do you understand and you're
I'm neither.
Aware? Oh, well, I don't know. From listening to you in the past, I thought that you were,
I see. Well, you've obviously been misled.
I've got that impression. I like the way you deal with some people. Personally, myself, I have very little time for idiots. I think 1986, I'm going to try and be more tolerant towards them. And
I see.
Having listened to you early on tonight, I think you should be a little bit more tolerant towards idiots
exactly
as well.
the same.
Yeah.
Indeed, I've been fairly tolerant with an idiot now, haven't I?
I don't know.
Well, obviously you don't, but if you weren't an idiot...